I guess welcome along to another workshop concentrating on cancer-related fatigue. If you have joined over the last 2 weeks, you'll know that we have looked at cancer-related fatigue and what it is, and some of the tips that we can share to hopefully help to combat some of that cancer-related fatigue. We'll recap a little bit of that. We've also done a session about cardiovascular, so that one was the first one. Last week's was the strength one, and then this week we are concentrating a little bit more on flexibility and stretching. So again, we'll do a few guided stretches in this evening session. So just a bit of a disclaimer, obviously this is not sort of one-on-one advice. Do what you feel comfortable doing. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. But otherwise, do it, and hopefully you will enjoy it and take a few things away from it as well. So I do have a bit of a presentation again, so I will share the screen in a moment. It's a bit strange sharing the screen because then I can't see anybody, but that's part of it, isn't it? And so within that, and then we'll stop sharing the screen when we do the stretches as well. I know that over the past few weeks we've had quite a few different questions. There's been quite a bit of interaction as well. Like I say, it is going to be recorded, but basically it's sort of this screen that's recorded. It's me that's recorded, really. So if you don't want to be part of that recording, then generally, like, we'll edit it out. You won't be. So please see it as a safe space as well. So anyway, I will share my screen. All being well, that works. So here we are. This is, oh, I just remember I need to move a box out of the way so then you can actually see the screen. And then I will be just gonna do that. Okay, so hopefully you can all see that. Just go away, we don't want to navigate that. There we go. Okay, so I'm a cancer rehabilitation instructor with Move Charity. So I work on our online programme, which is for 13 to 30-year-olds. And one of the most common side effects of cancer is cancer-related fatigue. And over the last few weeks, we've talked about that it actually affects 90% of patients. It is a thing. It's very different to you previously maybe feeling tired and thinking that a good night's sleep can sort it out. It can impact so many areas of your life, whether that is work, whether that is family, just so much. And some of the feelings, we'll be looking at those again, about some of the side effects that maybe you have experienced as well. And we'll talk more about tips later on as well. But one thing is, as I say, it really is a huge part and side effect of treatment. So do seek help for it if you need to. We have looked about this, but maybe if you haven't been to some of the previous workshops that we've done, it might be worth just recapping some of the feelings related to cancer-related fatigue. We have spoken about it, so some of them might be that there's difficulty sleeping, perhaps a lack of energy. If some of these feel familiar, please do write in the comments box. Georgie can read some of those out as well. Just that feeling that you can't be bothered, and actually maybe getting up and getting out of bed and having a shower, maybe that's a win for the day, and that's, you know, that's a really good thing. Maybe feeling depressed, perhaps feeling anxious as well, just not knowing what your body can do and what your body can cope with, perhaps an inability to concentrate maybe on the task in hand. And then just some negative feelings, maybe your muscles are a little bit sore, perhaps you get out of breath easily, maybe going up the stairs and you get out of breath. Georgie, are there any comments that you want to chip in on, or?
Not yet.
Cool. So there's all of these feelings, which are all side effects of cancer-related fatigue. So we've discussed about actually what role does exercise have when it comes to cancer-related fatigue. And we've spoken about this idea of, but I'm tired already. Surely physical activity is going to make me feel more exhausted and more tired. But actually, there's so much evidence out there about the benefits of movement and exercise on cancer-related fatigue. So it can actually help to combat some of those side effects. So just I've put a couple of studies there. The top one just is very particular to breast cancer, but you know, it says there, supervised exercise reduces cancer-related fatigue and must be implemented in breast cancer rehab settings. And then the second one, again, it shows that physical activity before, during treatment and after treatment can again just have that positive impact on fitness and also on quality of life. It can help to combat those side effects of cancer-related fatigue. Where does stretching come into this? So as I say, we've done strength, we've done some cardio, and then this evening we were going to talk a little bit more about stretching and flexibility. So it can have a really positive impact on you. Stretching, it can help to reduce stress, and as a side effect, that can help make you feel less fatigued as well. And some of the hormone therapy treatments can leave your muscles feeling really, really stiff. So again, some stretching can help to combat some of those side effects of that stiffness and the sore muscles. What exactly is flexibility? What is stretching? So there's different names for it. So yep, flexibility, stretches. You might also hear it being called about range of motion. So stretching is really important because it lengthens the tendons and the muscles. It also helps to maintain or improve the flexibility of our joints and muscles. As we get older, we lose flexibility. And then, as I was just saying, that cancer treatment itself can impact on our flexibility. And stretching can help with that. It can ease some of that stiffness. You know, sometimes when you get out of bed in the morning and just everything feels so stiff, and you know, you don't have to have done anything major. It's just that stiffness is there. So doing a bit of stretching, having some regular flexibility can really help. And also it can help with breathing. It might sound strange, but because you are relaxed as well, and then that can help with the breathing, and it's something that you're focusing on. So that's just a little bit of background about stretching. Some general tips for you. So when you are stretching, think about having good posture to begin with. So we're going to do some chair-based stretching, or Georgie might talk us or show us more of a lying option or a standing option. But either way, if you're in the chair, you know, you don't want to be slouching before you stretch. You want to have that good posture. You don't want to pull a muscle. So stretching slowly and steadily is good. And if you hold a stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds, that can be that's a good amount of time to hold it for. Don't hold your breath as you stretch. And in terms of how far should you stretch, like you should feel it, but you don't want it to be sore. So that would be what I would say on that front. So what kind of things can you do to get this flexibility in? I don't know if anybody does any of these things. Does anyone do any Tai Chi or yoga or Pilates? if you want to pop in the comments box, and Georgie can talk us through some of those comments. And I guess if you do stuff like yoga and Pilates, how has it helped you, and how was it that first time that you did it? So if you want to pop in the comment box if you're doing any of these things, and how you found it. And also you can do stretching at home. We're going to do a bit shortly. I don't know if there's a...
So Sarah says she does Pilates.
Yeah.
That's it so far. I do a bit of yoga. Has anyone else done yoga with Adrian? Me and Helen have done that before. Oh, David says I do yoga and find it very helpful. I have got better. Brilliant.
That's the thing. And one thing I would definitely say about yoga in particular is I often hear people say, oh, I'm no good at yoga because I'm not very flexible. Or you think, oh, just things like that. And actually what I'd say is, it's not about how flexible you are. The movements are all very similar. So I could never, and still struggle to touch my toes, but it doesn't mean that I don't benefit from doing yoga myself. And I think, yeah, it probably does take maybe a little bit of getting used to anything like that. I think sometimes as well, even if you're used to doing other things, and then slowing down for something like yoga feels a bit strange sometimes, but stick with it and the benefits are amazing, even for balance and just feeling like steady on your feet, improving your core. There are so many benefits to doing this kind of thing. Georgie, I think I can see a few more comments.
Yeah, so Sarah also said about Pilates, very useful, but run by my physio, so easy to start, as she knew my background.
Yeah.
David, I think you've heard of also yoga with Adrian, so that's fab. Kate, don't do any yet. Gordon, I found my stoma has been quite restrictive.
Gordon,
yeah.
On that, I don't know, we can talk about it more at the end. Sarah Russell does amazing work with following a stoma. So yeah, we can put the links in the chat box, but Sarah Russell, and she's done a workshop actually with us, so can highly recommend what she does and her work, and her knowledge as well.
Yeah, I'll pop the link in for you, Gordon.
Perfect. So I'm going to stop sharing so then we can do a little bit of a stretch, and then we'll come back to that. Oh, I can see people again. Hi. It's very nice. So what we'll do is we'll do a bit of an upper body stretch. We'll do it chair-based, but Georgie can show you a standing option. As I say, this is entirely up to you. It's optional. If you don't want your camera on, like, that's fine. But we'll just go through a bit of a guided stretch. So if we sit up in the chair, so with that good posture, and we're just going to start with our neck. So if you take your right hand and just put it over your head, so then it's on your, like, the left hand side of your head, and you're just very, very gently with your shoulders down, so don't let your shoulders come up, shoulders down, and we're just going to gently take our neck down and just give a bit of a stretch. And one of those tips was keep on breathing as you do it. And you should feel it, but it shouldn't be painful. I think it's quite a relaxing thing to do as well. And we don't often give ourselves permission in the day to do it. And then we'll swap sides. So just come back up slowly, and then other hand, and we're just going to do exactly the same. So just, I guess, sort of take your neck to where is comfortable for you. Remember to keep the shoulders down rather than hunching them up. So really just relax. good. And then again, just come back up slowly. And then we'll do our shoulders. So a really easy one for the shoulders is basically take your right arm and take it across your body. And we're just going to sort of hug that arm in a little bit. And you should feel a stretch across your shoulder. And again, we'll just count, hold it for about 20 seconds. So that stretch should feel pretty good. And sometimes when I do the online program, and maybe I arrange a Zoom with a young person, and the intention would be to do a strength workout over Zoom, or maybe a cardio workout, and actually they appear on Zoom and they say, Helen, I am so tired. We'll just swap sides, so exactly the same. So take your other arm and just hug it in, and you'll feel that stretch in your shoulder. So they'll say, Helen, I'm so tired. And I'll say, okay, do you just want to talk today? Because that's fine if you want to talk. Or do you want to do some stretches? Or do you want to just not do anything today and I'll see you next week? And quite often they'll say, in that situation, can we do some stretches, please? So we go through some stretches, and then they'll so often say at the end, I feel so much better for doing that. So I think it can help. Okay, we're going to do next, we'll do the back. So again, quite a nice way to do this is basically sit in your chair, sit up, shoulders down, and then just squeeze your shoulder blades together, and you'll feel a bit of a stretch across your ears. Just feel that stretch. Alternatively, with this one, you can put your sort of hands in the small of your back, and again, you'll just feel that stretch. That's good. And then we can stretch our back a bit by pretending, so just loosen that off. If you want to loosen your shoulders a little bit, go for it. And then we can do our back, pretend that you're hugging like a big beach ball or something. So we're just going to take our arms out in front of us, or giving someone a massive hug, right? And you'll just feel that stretch across your back. That can feel quite nice. And again, keep on breathing as you do it. Perfect. And then again, just drop your arms down and give yourself a bit of a shake if you'd like to. And then if you want to, we can stretch off our arms. So if we take our left arm and just grab the ends of your fingers, and we're just going to, again, pull back a little bit, and then you'll feel the stretch in your arm of that one. And again, if you're in the chair, we've just got that good posture as we do it. Good. And Andrea, thank you for your message, because you say I've done yoga for a long time and it's definitely helped me. And we'll swap arms, and we'll do the same. And Elizabeth, you said I started Pilates via a local cancer charity. It gave me the confidence to move on to more general sessions. So, oh, that's really sad about the charity. You said it folded during COVID. That is really so sad. And I think as well, yeah, sometimes going to a group or even doing a group session online can be a little bit daunting sometimes. So if that is the case, if you're able to, sometimes one-on-one might be worth it just for a few. And then again, we can just shake off the arms. So there you go, there's a few stretches for the upper body. Just loosen it off a little bit and give everything a bit of a stretch. But yeah, sometimes one-on-one sessions, just a few, could be quite good to give you the confidence to focus one-on-one on you, maybe learn some of the modifications or whatever, and then you can always then join a group class. So hopefully that was useful. I'll go back to sharing my screen. The other part of this evening's talk is a little bit about, over the last few weeks, we have spoken about, well, you know, strength workout's great, and doing cardio is really good, and doing stretching is really good. But actually, sometimes it can be quite hard to get into the routine of doing it. Some weeks you just feel dreadful, right? So hopefully we can talk a little bit about some tips to kind of maintain that motivation, and get into the habit of doing something. So we will talk a little bit about challenges and goals and expectations. And I've put the word patience there over on the right, and it's for a good reason, because I think that patience is key. The body has changed, and it's little and often, and just building up gradually. And in terms of those expectations, we'll come on to that in a moment, but having goals is brilliant, and having realistic goals and being able to manage those expectations is really important. So what I want you to do is, I would love you to write down a goal, right? You don't have to put it in the comments. You can, if you've got your phone near you, pop it in your phone. If you have a piece of paper, write it down on a piece of paper. You can make it all colourful. But the idea of having a goal is to help you with motivation. So on the days when you are feeling horrendous, right, you've still got that goal. Or on the days that you're feeling okay, then you've still got that goal. So you're thinking, oh, I just don't think I can get outside today. Could you do 2 minutes? And would that 2 minutes help you to reach your goal? So make sure that your goal is one that matters to you. Keep it simple, and write that goal down that makes you feel something inside. If you want to do that, and it's like, if you write it down, especially then if you do share it with someone else, it's that accountability. Or you could pop it, on the mirror when you clean your teeth in the morning, pop your goal there, and then you see it, and it just reminds you of what that is. So hopefully you've had a moment to write down a bit of a goal. So then how do you go about doing it? We have spoken about some of the guidelines for strength and for cardio and for stretching. And if you can if you can do some of those different things over the week, that would really, really help. And in terms of achieving the goal, I think things like Instagram are dreadful. Instagram would suggest that everything is like that image on the left, but actually the reality is that there will be a lot of bumps along the way. I don't like that word success at the top, so maybe just imagine it says goal rather than success. But as you work towards that goal, maybe it is going along to a 5k your way, and maybe the ultimate goal is to maybe walk the whole 5k, but at the moment you're not near there. So how are we going to get to that goal? And there will be those blips along the way, but if you can set smaller goals along the way and maybe say, okay, at this point I want to be able to go and do 1 kilometre, and then this next point I'm going to go and do half of it because maybe it's a 2-loop course or something like that. And it's just gradually working towards it. And I think as well, having that team around you, having the support around you, having those friends who say, oh, what can I do to help you? Actually, can you come on a walk with me and help me? So that can be really helpful. But I think with the with the goals, it's like you want it to be optimistic and realistic, I think is a good way to put it. Other things that can really help when it comes to cancer-related fatigue and exercise and this idea of goal setting, is keep a diary of your fatigue. So it can be in your phone, it could be maybe on a piece of paper, there'd be templates on the internet, you could print one off. But basically, keep track of how you feel at on any particular day and what you've done, and that way you might find patterns. But it's also useful because, for example, if you usually do yoga on, let's say you do yoga on Monday, and you write in your fatigue diary, actually on a scale of 1 to 10, when 10 is awful fatigue and 1 is no fatigue, maybe the fatigue was at 6, but you did that yoga and you've written down, I felt better for doing it. Then maybe a few weeks later, your fatigue's been better for a few weeks, and then it hits you and you're like, I don't have the energy for that. But you can look back in your diary and see, actually that happened and I did the yoga and I felt better for doing it. I didn't feel worse for doing it. So that can really, really help. Accountability is amazing. With the online program that we do, having someone to be accountable to can really, really help. So again, can you arrange to do something with someone else? Can you almost have, if you don't have anyone nearby, or maybe everyone's busy during the day, can you get like a bit of a virtual buddy? So they check in with you, they'll text you and say, have you done that yet? It can be really helpful if you can't meet up with someone. As we've said, do ask for support. Really, it's really important. Get those people around you to help you, and be kind to yourself. Honestly, it's really easy to be hard on yourself, to think, those negative thoughts, isn't it, that we mentioned, that some of those side effects of the fatigue. And then if you are able to get into a routine, it can be so helpful because it just becomes habit, and then it becomes part of your normal everyday life, and hopefully enjoyable too. So just some tips for goal setting.
Helen,
yeah,
Sarah's got a really good point. She said, I kept a note of steps per day, but I wasn't taking into account pottering about the house, which was wiping me out. Yeah. And that, and we Sarah, thank you for that, because it's a really good point. Because we've talked in the other weeks about, yes, I've been talking about stretching, and then we have done the strength workout, but actually everyday tasks also count towards that strength work or towards that cardio work. So if you're doing gardening or if you're carrying the shopping, it's all flexibility, it's strength. If you're walking to the shop to pick up some milk or something like that, you're still getting those steps in. So it's trying to find that balance as well, and that's when that diary can be really helpful, can't it, Sarah? And just keeping track of everything that you're doing and how you're feeling with it. Thank you, Georgie. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen again because we'll do a lower body stretch now. So is everyone all right at the moment? Oh, and Georgie has put a link, by the way, to another goal setting workshop, which is on the YouTube channel. So you can check that one out as well. Okay, so we'll do the legs. I'm going to just have to move my screen slightly so you can see it. So to begin with, we're going to do lower body. And okay, sitting in the chair, or Georgie might be able to show a different version of this one.
if you're able to, we're just going to lift that leg up, lift one leg up, sit up straight, and then hug your leg in towards you. So sitting up straight and hugging that leg in. And we're stretching off the hip by doing this one. And sometimes, even after doing something like gardening, you might feel really, really stiff. Just taking 5 minutes to do some stretches can be really good. Other times, on those days whereby, as I say, getting out of a bed is a struggle, we'll swap legs. So hug that other leg in, so you can just hug your leg, sitting up straight, and then you should feel a stretch around your hip. Yeah, like could you maybe even do some stretches in bed? That's another option. If you feel better for doing some stretches, that could be a way to get some in.
I was about to say I'm doing this standing up, but yeah, you could definitely do this lying down, couldn't you, Helen?
Yeah. Definitely. Or if you're watching TV, you do some stretches while you're watching TV. So next one we're going to do, we're going to grab I'm going to move forward off the chair a little bit. We're going to take our ankle and put it just above the other knee, and again sitting up straight, and you'll feel a bit of a stretch again in your hip. If you've got really bad knees, you might not want to do this one, or if it's uncomfortable. I can feel that in my hip. Feels nice. That's good. And then again, we'll swap legs. So other leg, so grab your other ankle, just put it above your knee. Now, if you want a deeper stretch, you can push down a little bit on that knee. But just as we were saying before, it shouldn't be painful, but you do want to feel a bit of a stretch.
If anyone else is standing up, I'm holding on to the table for this one.
Okay. Excellent. And then we'll take that leg down. Then we can do a hamstring stretch. So this muscle here, back at the top of your leg. I'm going to just move my screen a little bit more. So with this one, we're going to keep our left foot planted on the floor, right leg's going to go out straight, and then we can just almost like ease your hands down onto your thigh. I can already feel a stretch in the back, and your upper body is like I'm hinging at the hips rather than folding like that. We're up nice and straight, and then we're just hinging over rather than flopping over. And so you should feel that stretch in your leg. And in terms of the toes and where they're pointing, you can point them forwards basically. And then if you bring your toes, so same position, and just point your toes up to the ceiling, you'll feel a stretch in your calf, so your lower leg. And we'll hold that. And then we'll swap legs. So just again, come up straight and then swap legs. So this time the left leg's going to go out, and we're going to just roll. See, I said before, I'm not very flexible. Other people might literally be able to go flat and have the same stretch. So everyone's different, and even bodies on different days feel different. So, one day it might be that from here you can get to the middle of your shin, and another day you can get to your knee. But as I said, you're still stretching the same muscles, so it's okay if it's different, basically. And then point those toes up, and we'll get a nice stretch in the calf again. And then we'll do a bit of if we literally just, we can flex and extend the ankles, so you can't really see that, the light is bad, but if I move back, maybe you can. I've got the wrong colour socks on, you can't see it against the carpet. Let's do that. So we're gonna just move the ankles a little bit. Okay, so leg out straight, and we're just gonna lift those toes up, and then we're going to point the toes the other way.
Is this one the same standing up, Helen?
Yeah, you can do that standing up.
Thanks.
So then again, we're just going to pull your toes like towards your shin, and then point them out in front. And then while we're there with this same foot, right, we're just going to do some circles with the ankle. There are loads of nice moves that you can do, which obviously are not seated. There are some good yoga moves if you didn't want to do a whole yoga class, like cat-cow, which I'll show in a moment as well. I think it's a really good one. So swap legs now. So we're just going to do pointing the toe, and then bringing the toes up towards the ceiling. And then again, you point that toe down. Still breathing with these ones, always useful. And then point your toes up again. And then we'll do one more of each. So point your toe down. And then again, just point the toes up. And then from there, we'll just do some ankle circles with that left ankle. Sometimes as well, you know, if you've been in shoes all day, actually even stretching the feet can be really, really nice. And a good way to do that, you can do it in the chair. And literally, if you just go with your feet, so you start with the feet flat and then just take one foot and have the toes near the ball of your other foot, and literally just, it might feel a little bit clicky, but you can kind of go almost up and down on your toes, and you can do it standing up, which looks like that. Okay, and then you take it out to the side a little bit, and again, it's just getting that movement in some of the tendons that we might otherwise just get stuck in shoes all day long. Okay, and then other foot. So we'll do the similar with that one. So have the ball, have the toes near the ball of the other foot, and we're just going up and down. And then again, out to the side. So as I say, it might be a little bit clicky. And then one other bit of mobility, which is quite nice to do if you're standing up or just out the chair, is basically up and down to get your ankles moving that way. Is quite nice. I have a clicky knee. Yeah, so there we go. Hopefully it's a nice little stretch all over the body. I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen a moment. There's a few things just to finish off. So some of you might have seen this before, some of you might not, but just some other tips to help try to manage cancer-related fatigue. You might want to look back at the strength video from last week if you missed it, but keep that diary, track the patterns. If you are in pain from your cancer-related fatigue or just in pain, talk to your healthcare professional. Get support for mental well-being if it's needed. We are going to be doing a workshop at some point later this year with another charity who focus on mental well-being, so that should be really good to look out for. In the meantime, on that, so if you've finished treatment, there is a charity called Life After Cancer that focuses on mental well-being. They have a 6-week course. I've heard good things about it as well. Try and get into a sleep routine. I know that sounds ridiculous thing to say. It's far easier said than done, I know. But some of the young people that we get, a lot of them really struggle to, it's almost like their body clocks have shifted, and they might be going to bed really, really late and then getting up really, really, really late in the day. Is there a way to try to reverse that, and actually sometimes having a routine with something like a bit of strength or a bit of cardio, a bit of stretch, so separating it out over those days. So maybe you say, right, on Monday, that's going to be a day that I do some of those strength things. Maybe on Tuesday, I'm going to perhaps go for a bit of a walk. Wednesday, I'm going to have a stretch. So then you know that it's that routine idea, and it can be really, really helpful and give a bit of structure to that day. There is a million things to say about healthy diets. Staying hydrated, like water, obviously, is really good. Healthy diet, as I say, is a whole other topic in itself, but generally, if you are eating a lot of fresh, good food, then you can't go too wrong with that idea of fresh ingredients. And then, as we said, get that support network, build one around you. If we sort of relate it to sports people or any successful people, really, any people, they are not alone in it. They might look like they're alone doing something, but they have these teams around them, and actually we all need that team around us to help us. And it might be that, I don't know, one particular family member is really good for one thing, and then maybe a friend is an amazing person to tap up for something else. So use all those people, so then you've got that support. That's sort of it in terms of the presentation. I'm going to stop this for now. We can do a final breathing thing, a final relaxation if you'd like to, but what I would like to know is, does anybody have any questions at all? Because you might not have been on the other workshops, and I know we've covered quite a lot of different things over the last 3 weeks. So if you have any questions, or if there's anything that maybe you've done that you've found particularly useful that might help someone else, that if you want to maybe pop it in the comments box, or you can ask away if you'd like to. And if there are no questions, then yeah. So Sarah, the strength one is definitely up on YouTube. The cardio one isn't up on YouTube. We messed up the recording. So we talked a bit more last week as well about some of the benefits of strength, and again, just some of those, like how to bring it into your everyday tasks. There are other workshops, Georgie might have the link to them, about cancer related fatigue that we've done in the past. I know Gemma did one, so founder of Move Charity, and that one gives a whole overview rather than going specifically into like this cardio idea and the strength idea and the stretch idea. And Sarah, it's good to have you late to the party. Don't worry about it at all, by the way. Oh, Joe, that's an amazing question. And David. Okay, so let's start with Joe, because actually, Joe, other people might be able to help with this one. What's the best way to describe fatigue to work colleagues? Does anyone else have any ideas? Because I think that's a fantastic question, and it would be good to hear what anybody else has maybe done with that. If anyone feels comfortable to do so, if anyone wants to share their thoughts. I'll come back to that one in a moment, Joe. I'm just going to see if anyone else wants to pipe up. But I like David's question. Okay, why do I feel so much better after exercise? So, David, one of the big things is the endorphins that go around the body. It's that feel-good factor, isn't it? And that, I mean, that is absolutely huge. If after this you're feeling better from the stretching, I'd go back to some of those benefits of stretching, which actually I do sometimes think, and with yoga and Tai Chi and Pilates, because you're focusing on your body and the movement of your body, and perhaps just you're focusing on your breathing a bit, aren't you? And you're not really focusing on some of those thoughts in your brain. It's almost like that 15-20 minutes when you're concentrating so hard on what you're doing. And I think that's why it's so beneficial to do it, not just for the flexibility, but that concentration and forgetting some of those negative thoughts maybe in your head. So that's one thing for the stretching. We mentioned the endorphins. And I think as well, if you feel better after doing exercise outside, that's the outdoors thing for you. That is the power of getting outside for a walk and being in the fresh air and being in nature. Like there are so many studies that show the positive impact on physical and mental well-being. So yeah, this is the thing. Movement's brilliant, right? Movement is brilliant.
I think the amazing thing for me is that you know you're tired and fatigued, and then you do more exercise, which technically is tiring, and yet after it you can feel much less fatigued than you did. So it's a real mystery in a way as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of a paradox in a funny sort of way.
That is it, and that's when it seems such a strange thing. So Sarah, you might have missed because you would have missed some of the earlier sessions, and so we were talking about, you know, what basically we're doing these sessions because one of the key ways to combat fatigue is to move and to do that physical activity. And yeah, like David was saying, it seems sorry, I don't know if that was, apologies, I'm not sure if that was David, but it seems so counterproductive. But basically the evidence is there, the studies are there. We showed a really good like flow chart to do with the fatigue from treatment. So then you rest more, but then your body becomes deconditioned, and then you lack the energy, so then you rest more. So then it's just this real vicious circle. And if you can do some physical activity and try to break that, then there are so many positive impacts of that, and even those impacts on the your quality of life. You know, the physical activity has just got such a huge benefit for quality of life. Sarah, I think, should I tell you one thing I was thinking in terms of colleagues? I don't know how how sort of close they are as colleagues. I don't know if it's a massive organization or something like that. I don't know, if there's a big HR, I would be kind of signposting HR just to some of just educating them. I think that's part of it, isn't it? It's like that lack of education and understanding. And if, you know, that word fatigue, anybody without a cancer diagnosis can say, oh yeah, I'm really, really tired, but it's so different, isn't it? And maybe if you're close to some of those colleagues, it's just trying to explain that it's not that, and it isn't the fatigue that can be fixed from a good night's sleep. It's like this sort of detrimental fatigue. Yeah, I think so. If you can check out some of those other workshops, you might find them really, really useful. And Jackie, I am so pleased that you've found these sessions beneficial as well. And yeah, I hope that you're feeling all right. I'm really pleased that that stretching has helped. So yeah. And Sarah, if there's anything else in particular, like, we're always open to, you know, you can drop us a line or whatever. We try and help as best we can. And I don't know, I know Georgie, you are from the 5K Your Way side of things. I don't know if everyone on this is aware of 5K Your Way, so I don't know if you just want to mention what that's about as well.
Yeah, that would be great. I did pop a link. Hopefully you've all managed to copy some of the links I've been putting in the chat. But I popped one in earlier to the 5K Your Way website. So if anyone doesn't know, 5K Your Way is one of the areas of work done by Move Charity. So the other area is kind of what Helen was talking about earlier with the young people on the Move Online program. And then the third area, which is our kind of newest area, is these workshops. So hopefully you've seen all these links. We've actually done quite a few now. So yeah, 5K Your Way, we have 85 5K Your Way groups across the UK and Ireland. We've got some in Wales and Northern Ireland, and we're working on Scotland. And basically it's a support group with a difference, and it's on the last Saturday of every month, and it's 5K Your Way. So walk it, jog, run, cheer, or volunteer, or just go along and have a coffee afterwards. So it's basically a way of going along to the park run, designated park runs across, of which that we've got 85 at the moment, but doing it your way. So you, like I say, walk, jog, run, cheer, or volunteer, but you don't have to do the whole 5K. So do as much or as little as you want. A great thing to do if you want to just give it a go and turn up is just to go along and watch and see what it's all about, and then have the coffee afterwards. So if you're interested in finding out more, I popped the link in there, but it's 5kyourway.org, or pop me an email. I'll put my email on here as well. And the next meetup is actually this Saturday, because it's the last Saturday of the month. So if you are interested, have a look on the website and you can find your group.
I think Georgie's gone slightly alien-esque. Can I say, sorry Georgie, you broke up a tiny bit there, but basically head to the website to find out more. There you go, or email Georgie, and she's put her email address in the chat. Just one really quick one. Sorry, Joe, I got you confused with Sarah. So if I said about talking to your HR or something, I meant to you, Joe. But yeah, I think education, and I don't know if we can help any way with that, then do let us know. Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions at all? It seems like quite a few of you do 5K Your Way. And yeah, I recently became an ambassador for a group we set up a few months ago, and it's incredible. So I can highly, highly recommend it. David goes along as well. Excellent. Yeah, any other questions at all? Or
I've put the link in again. Thanks, Helen.
No problem at all. I think that's probably it then. Yeah, so thank you very much for coming along to this session. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully over the 3 weeks you've learned a little bit as well, and you know, not to beat yourself up, to keep moving when you can, and to see those little things as wins, and they will all build up. So thank you so very much, and yeah, go and check out all of our other resources on the Move Against Cancer YouTube channel.
Thank you, Helen, and share with anyone that you might find this useful. Please help us spread the awareness, would be amazing. Thank you.